and welcome to the Bucket List Show. My name is Tammy Crandall with Jurgen Adventure Travel and Tours and Barron Real Estate, and I'm here with my co-host Rebecca Denise, who does management through Barron Real Estate.
Yep, absolutely.
The intention of our show, the Bucket List Show, is to serve you so you can fill your bucket to live your most abundant life. And what that means for each one of us, for each one of you, is very different depending on what scope of life that you're sitting in. We always bring special guests on, so we're very excited to have a new guest today, Jurgen. Schwanitz, is that right?
Correct.
I said that correctly? Yay, with ACT Computers.
Thanks
so
for
thank
having
you
me.
for joining us. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. I understand you've been in Vero Beach for quite some time, right?
Yes, I actually went to high school in Vero Beach.
Oh.
Finished high school there from Germany.
So you're a local.
I'm local.
Okay.
Yeah, as much as it gets. And I own an IT company in Vero Beach for 28 years now.
Wow, that's fantastic. And so what types of services does your company offer up and down the Treasure Coast?
Lots of different things. I mean, obviously we do the typical break-fix scenario. So, you break it, we fix it.
Okay.
Computers. And we also do service calls. We go out to businesses. We
Oh, wow.
set up servers. We repair cell phones, that too. We also do software engineering. We also do that. So we have
Okay.
9 people on staff. And
Okay.
busy.
And the servicing that you do, is that all done on site in your business there, or do you outsource that type of thing?
We do. We have 3 guys on the road, 3
Okay.
technicians, and so for any kind of outdoor work, either residential or commercial, we go to the business or home.
Okay.
And then also we have a storefront. So
Okay.
we actually have that too. We
Okay.
can also go shop and buy items, and we repair things there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a nice having a storefront.
Yeah.
Because that's hard to, there's not a lot of places and you have to buy it online or go to the bigger box office, but to have that local service
Right.
in the community, it really is a big deal, especially for
Okay.
someone like me.
Yeah.
So, we all need some sort of assistance because we live or die on this stuff.
Well, and that brings up a very good point. So from what we were discussing earlier, you mentioned education. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
On education, yeah, I mean, we work with the schools, local schools together, and supply them with items and
Okay.
materials.
Oh, that's good.
And then we also work with some like non-profits. Like
Okay.
we have one we support quite a bit. It's called Miss B's Learning Bees. You might have
Oh.
heard about her, Latoya, and she does a really nice program
Oh, very
for
good.
kids, and we supply the notebooks and do a lot of work for them.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Mhm.
That's
There's a
fantastic.
big
And
need
is
for
that
that.
for a variety of ages there? Do you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. It's I think it's starting from like 7 years up.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Now, we when we were discussing some things earlier, mentioned that you have a retail frontage.
Yes.
So where is that located specifically?
We are actually in the or old Kmart Plaza on Vero Beach. That's
Okay.
right by Majestic and the post office.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we're finally getting a new store in there. Tractor Supply is moving in there now.
Oh,
But,
wow.
So
that's
that'll
good.
help too.
Oh,
That'll help,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
It's a
Oh,
good
good.
location though.
And you mentioned it's a pretty sizable store
Mhm.
that you have there. So what kinds of items do you actually market out of the store?
Yeah, we actually have a retail storefront,
Mhm.
which is, together it's about 3,400 square feet.
Okay, so that's a nice size.
So we have a storefront where you can demo and look at all the newest equipment items, because we build things every day. We have gaming machines, we build ourselves, desktops, a lot of newer stuff that you can't see in the big box stores because, they only carry so many things.
Right.
And then in the back it was all about, repairing and service. But
Do you buy older equipment?
we don't buy off the, off the consumers.
Okay.
We go through our channels. We're buying the buying
course.
hardware, right?
But I could go in and need help if I have help with storage or just clean up
Oh yeah.
on my computer to get more space.
Right.
Right now I have my phone tied to my Apple computer and then my iPad. So now I have things 3 times. So I'm safe, but I don't want it 3 times.
Well, if you have an app, that's the nice thing about Apple devices. You have it on multiple devices. That doesn't mean you have it 3 times though. That means it's synchronized 3 times.
Oh,
Because they all talk to each other. That's really
so much
nice.
for my degree helping me.
That's really nice because that's one big benefit of Apple. Apple
Okay.
doesn't know how to make their devices synchronized between a notebook and PC. and
Okay, I
desktop.
didn't
Nice.
realize that.
But
Okay,
we can
so-
help with these things. So if you're running out of room, the most important thing we see quite a bit is, we deal with a lot of scams, online scams, where people, get money taken out of their bank account and stuff like that. We do a lot of these things.
Okay.
research,
Okay.
and stuff like that.
Well, and also, I know sometimes the concern that people have is as some of their machines become obsolete, they're not sure what do they do with the existing equipment that they have. How do they deal with?
Well,
like
if
hard
it's if
drive?
it's an old computer, for example, we allow you. You can bring the machine into us, and if it's old, we'll tell you right away, hey, this is not worth investing any money into it. Look for something else, and then you can look around the showroom, see what we have. We have used machines. We have that too. We want to save money, or new ones we built. And then when it comes to let's say you just want to get rid of that machine, and you're concerned about your data, we can actually crush your hard drive. We actually take the drive out, and it's a big giant nail clipper, and it basically just crushes the drive, so
Oh,
that
wow.
you cannot
Okay.
retrieve anything anymore.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to throw that in the garbage.
Yeah, because then anybody can take that drive, install it somewhere, and pull the information off,
Exactly.
right?
Right, especially now we're, at least for me, I save my password, on my computer. It has my credit card number. I know, which I'm sure most of us are doing. And, I'm thinking, obviously convenience is great, but,
Right.
we're not helping ourselves by
No,
it's
yeah.
being there. I might as well just broadcast my ATM number and give the PIN,
Right.
Now, when it comes to the businesses that you assist, you mentioned you have techs that go out, right? Do they help with the setup of networks within an office, or how
Yeah.
does that work?
Yes, anything from a small office to a large office.
Okay.
Like the largest we deal with has about 200 computers,
Oh, wow.
so it's quite a large outfit. And so servers, networks, security in that. So it has to be. There's quite an infrastructure in a big business that has to run properly.
Right,
And we do
right.
that work. Yeah.
So obviously, being in the business as long as you have, you've seen a lot of changes.
Oh yeah.
So what are some things that are new and up and coming that maybe people are not as aware of that come top of mind?
Well, that's something we just talked about on our show here before we went earlier. It's called AI, artificial intelligence, and there's one called ChatGTP, and we'll have that on the program. So basically, like you use Siri or Google to talk to your phone, to have a virtual assistant, and those things have gotten so smart now that they almost can talk to you like a human being. So
Wow.
that's the amazing part. So that's the next upcoming thing. Everybody's talking about it right now.
I mean, it is kind of spooky because sometimes my phone will just start talking. Like she'll and then other times I'll say stop Amazon or, and it doesn't stop.
Right.
So I'm like,
She has a mind of her own.
Right.
They do. They do.
And but it's it's even in my car, when I
Yeah.
do, so it really is amazing. I mean, do you think that we are completely being recorded, watched all the time with these devices?
Not all the time, but when these companies tell you that you're not being recorded, that doesn't really mean really much because you don't know.
Right.
And we always think, okay, when you have, for example, for Siri, okay, you need to say, "Hey Siri," to wake up the phone to do something.
Right.
Well, it already has to be listening to you before that to hear "Hey Siri."
You're right.
Right.
It's not just a wake up command. It's
Very
already
good
listening to you.
point.
Yeah, that is a good point. I didn't think about that.
I mean, you just don't know. But that's, like I said, convenience.
Yeah,
It's the price of convenience.
Oh, sure.
we're spoiled. I mean, because it really is just super to have a question or make an appointment and say Siri, add an appointment to my calendar,
Right.
or do the reminders. But obviously there's a privacy factor on the
Right.
other end.
Right.
It's like when you're looking up a trip and then the next day everybody's sending you a trip information.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how did they figure that out? You
Yeah,
know?
it's amazing. You're using your phone, and you look for something, and all of a sudden that comes up as an ad somewhere else,
Exactly.
Facebook or something, and you don't know how to get there. And
Well, and even, it'll be interesting to see how technology transpires a little bit more in the future. So for example, with Jurgen Venture Travel and Tours, which is my travel agency, we do a lot of research, either within the internal systems that we use or even on the external systems to do comparisons directly with vendors
Right.
or suppliers. So you would be surprised to see how much information is thrown at me on a daily basis to
yeah.
buy a cruise, to buy a trip, to buy.
yeah, yeah.
Even
so I
on
get
the
a
real
lot of
estate
that.
side, it's the
Oh,
same
yeah,
thing.
same
or
thing,
Yeah.
people
yes.
buy. What is your opinion on Google compared to, is it Duck?
DuckDuckGo.
Oh, thank you.
Uh,
DuckDuckGo.
Well, as we all know, Google is a search engine, so is DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo tells you it's more private. Now, how far that goes, I have no clue.
Right, that's
Google.
yeah.
I mean, I think it's fine, but anything like this, you are giving it information because you're typing things in.
Right.
So you always have to think about that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think they're both relative.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they could say it, but
Right.
I was just curious. I've been hearing a lot about that
Right.
lately. So
It's not a bad thing to use. We have several customers using it. There's nothing
Oh,
wrong with
sure.
it, but
Okay.
you just don't know it's any better. I mean, I
Right.
haven't seen any
It
benefits.
may not be as
so-
proprietary as it appears to be.
Right, right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right.
All right,
Okay,
very
good.
good.
So, back on the retail store,
Mm-hmm.
so if someone came in and they just needed training on how to use an iPad
Mhm.
or how to use the phone, is that something that your team could offer too, like mini trainings or
Yeah,
something?
I mean, it's two level of things. I mean, obviously, when you come to our store, you actually talk to a technician. We don't have, somebody just taking the phone or talking to the customer and then giving them off to somebody else. So when you come in, you actually get to talk to somebody, a real technician, right away.
Okay.
If it's a small problem and you have just a question about your phone and it's something we're spending 5-10 minutes with you, and obviously we'll do that right away, and we won't be charging for that.
Right.
If it's something longer involved, with a training session, we schedule a time for
Okay.
that, and you sit down
Gotcha.
with us.
Okay.
right?
Well, that's nice though to have because there's so
Right.
much new things out there
Yeah.
just to figure out how to use it.
Right.
You know.
we
so-
have walk-ins all day long, especially from senior citizens.
Of
and-
course.
And trying to explain how a phone works and how to do certain things, and we just have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's probably such a need for training anyway.
Yes, a lot.
You know, I'm from Connecticut, so they used to do a lot of continuing education programs, and they would have adult education if it's, Microsoft Word or iPad, and plus they would have the cooking classes and things like that. So
Right.
I wasn't sure if that was something, because that would definitely be a need.
Yeah.
Someone trying to learn how to put it all together if they're doing photography onto their computer and things of that site. Do you also do websites?
We do website design and SEO,
Okay.
search engine optimization. That's something we only started doing in the last 2 years or so.
Okay.
We used to rely also on external vendors to do this
Okay.
for us.
So now you're hosting it yourself?
Not hosting, but
Okay.
nobody hosts websites. They don't do
Okay.
that. But when it comes to marketing, like the website with Facebook and actually designing a website, we do that internally
Okay.
because we know how it works and we know what is popular. So
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Now, we have so much information to discuss with Jurgen, and we want to get as much out of that as we can.
Sure.
But we are going to take a quick break for about 2 minutes, but we have a lot more to talk about when we return. Are you looking to buy, sell, or lease your commercial property? Do you want to sell your business? Do you need a property manager? The Jeremiah Barron and Company commercial real estate experts have managed over $1 billion in commercial real estate transactions. Our agents focus on each client's specific needs to deliver results. For more information, visit treasurecoastcommercialrealestate.com. Located in St. Lucie West, Barron Academy is a private school that caters to students with autism and other unique needs. Barron Academy hosts grades K to 8, offering paced lessons and smaller class sizes guided by a passionate team of experienced educators. Curriculums are tailored to each student's abilities, which builds confidence while nurturing learning. For more information, visit exceptionalacademymypsl.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. I am Rebecca with the Bucket List Show with my co-host Tammy, and today we have ACT Computers with Jurgen, correct?
Jurgen, correct?
Jurgen, sorry with that.
Jurgen.
So,
Okay.
a question that I have is: you started your company 28 years ago.
Yes.
So, tell me a little tidbit. What it looked like 28 years ago to today. I mean, I could vision it, but just like from your opinion, when you started it, what were you doing 28 years ago?
Well, obviously with technology, things change a lot. Every year something changes. But
Yep, I know.
back then we started where there was no internet. There was just dial-up. And we didn't even have AOL yet, America
Right.
Online,
Okay.
which kind of revolutionized internet. Back then we had BBS services, bulletin board services.
Okay.
So you actually dial up a private company and then you connect it to some kind of board where you exchange messages.
Okay.
And also obviously the equipment back then was very basic. I mean, like I said, we started in 95 or 94, 95. And back then we started building on computers already. And back then we had what's called a 286 processor, 386, 486, different Intel chips. But back then everything was much more complicated to put together. Things didn't last very long. Sometimes, the hardware only lasted a couple of years, 2-3 years. You buy something new. Where nowadays things are much more reliable.
Exactly.
Did you think it was going to look like it does today?
No.
I know,
you
isn't it
never know.
amazing?
Things, we certainly didn't expect things to move that fast when it comes to speed.
Right.
The technology difference now in the hardware performance from an old computer to a new computer is unbelievable.
Oh, it's amazing.
I mean, what you carry on in your phone is
As a computer.
1,000 times faster than the old computer was back then.
Right.
And
No, it is amazing. What do you think's going to happen? Like, what do you see that, do you see that, we'll have that thing where we could call and it'll be like a glow on our arm or...
Well, you already have that. I mean, this is
the watch.
smartwatch, so I can do maybe phone calls here
Okay.
and different things. And your phone is kind of becoming your notebook. I mean,
Of
most things
course.
are done on the phone now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's just simpler. Like I edited videos on the phone much easier than my desktop computer.
Okay.
We couldn't do that back then.
That's true.
But the way I see the industry transforming is a couple different ways. I mean, we saw with the coming of the cloud, which cloud just means online storage. If you used
Right.
webmail in the past, internet,
course.
email, then you use the cloud. It's just a
Right.
fancy name for it, okay? It's just some silly name. But I can see that getting even more active in the future.
Of
where
course.
nowadays, obviously, when your business, for example, when you do a travel agency and realtor's office, you have to look up online all the time, and
Oh,
so you
sure.
are using cloud systems to look at things up.
Exactly. Even our storage, for our
Right.
storage, everything is stored
Right.
on
Right.
the cloud because,
Right.
if we store all that information
Yeah.
on our computers, they'd never move.
Right. Yeah.
It's just a lot of information to pack the computer full of. So, but just to kind of go back to what you said earlier about where computers were at, just brings to mind how much computers have changed. We bought a computer when my son was about 3. He was born in 91. And I remember we bought a computer with the idea that it's going to be the family computer. We had never had a mouse before. I had to learn how to use a mouse. It was the craziest thing. It took three and a quarter floppy disks,
Right.
play
Yeah.
games in
Right.
it. And it was a top of the line 16 megabyte computer, which is nothing
Right.
today.
Today is nothing.
Nothing today as far as, space or drive capabilities and things.
Well,
So
the storage part is, I think, huge for all of us. On my phone, I was looking at it yesterday. I have 21,000 pictures on my phone. I take pictures of everything, snapshots. It's like my notebook,
It
and
is.
I'll go back and I'll look at what I put a picture on.
Right.
But the idea is, so if we store it at cloud or we store it at Google, is there any recommendations on either?
I mean, it depends what you're using. If you're using an
Like
Apple
photos, yeah.
Well, if you use an Apple device, using the Apple,
Right.
iCloud to
Okay.
save everything. That's what comes
That
with
makes
it.
sense.
And works
Right.
perfectly with it. When you have a PC, you have a couple more options. You have Google Cloud. You have other services. You have Microsoft has their own OneDrive. You can
Gotcha,
save things on
yeah.
there. But also, things are progressing more and more cloud-based. But you also have to think about, in our industry, are you ready for that? Is your business ready for that?
Right.
So we see a lot of businesses when the cloud first came about, and you were starting to do all the business online, that people weren't ready for that. So now what's
Right.
happening is people are starting to kind of realize the cost involved in this, because if you're going on the cloud, that doesn't mean you're saving money. That's
Right.
not. That doesn't.
No,
mean,
it's more about having more storage. I mean,
Yeah.
at least I know for our business and what we do, it really is about
Right.
having a central space that is, for us, collaborative.
Right.
Because my business partner and I, we work in different spaces.
Yeah.
So being able to get on there at the same time, talk to each other over the phone or visually through the computer,
Right.
and kind of walk through a project that we're working on is just amazing.
Right.
Together.
So Google Workspace we
Really
use
cool,
quite a
yeah.
bit, and there is a cost
Yeah.
for those things based on what you need.
Yeah, it's convenience. That's
Yes.
what you're paying for. So
What would you recommend to parents with children who are just starting out with, the fire,
Yeah, like the tablet.
yeah, thank you, the tablets or the iPads?
I think an iPad would be a good thing to have for the kid to start, or basic computer. I
And-
mean,
Sure.
And the parental controls are with it. Do you think that is a good
they are
safety
pretty
thing?
sufficient, but
Okay.
I mean, with anything, you should keep your eye on it. Still,
Okay.
Oh,
see
yeah.
what's going on there.
Okay.
Because they can always sometimes find sneaky ways to get
Break
around
in
that.
get
And
a
sometimes,
virus.
and sometimes unintentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they're young enough, they're just pushing buttons and
Right.
swiping screens, and sometimes they don't even know what they're doing.
Right.
So you're right.
But yeah, any kind of computer, regular PC or so is recommended. A notebook even for
Okay.
kids to start using them.
And with the increase in screen time, there's been a lot of talk about how that could visually affect
Yeah, the brain.
children. So is there something that you recommend that they use or wear?
I
Does
mean,
that really do
wearing,
anything?
not really. I mean, in the past, when I was growing up, obviously we all remember all the old televisions, the
course.
tube TVs, and there
Uh-huh.
was the radiation. So everybody was thinking, "Oh, we're going to go blind from that." That didn't
Well,
happen.
that's true. Yeah,
But,
that's true.
I mean, obviously, it can still affect you.
Oh, sure.
Especially the light coming from the screen, which is like a blue light.
Oh, yeah.
So you can, as an adult, many people get the glasses that have a special coating on them if you
Of
look at
course.
the screen all day long. But for kids, I mean, it's limiting the screen time, obviously.
Of course.
But the nice thing about a lot of new devices now have that built into.
Okay.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
good. I
They
didn't
can
realize
limit
that.
the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
good.
mean, I know that even with my daughter, they set timers. We set timers on the screens,
Right.
and the kids know. We can usually hear them.
Right.
Yeah.
Google,
Yeah.
like Google has a wellness app built in on the phone now also, and all
Oh,
the
yeah.
apps saying, okay, you spent so much time, you got to keep track of these things. Maybe you want to do something else.
Right.
Right.
Tell us about 3D printing.
3D printing, yeah.
Yeah, what
Interesting
is
topic.
that?
So actually 3D printing is something like, this is a simple example. This is just a batch, but it's actually raised. So
Okay.
this took about an hour to print. So 3D printing has been around probably for the last 10 years, but
Okay.
in the last 2-3 years it's becoming more of a, on the market for everybody else to try. So we actually sell these printers, maintain them. And what 3D printing is, just like a regular printer, instead of printing, like we used to, the line down like this, it's printing from the bottom up. So it's printing on a plate. So you have to imagine you have a plate this size, and it's printing on top, and just building it up from the bottom to the top.
Wow.
That's neat.
Okay.
It's
So-
amazing what's out there.
And I mean, this is something you can see in the car industry. A lot of industries are starting using this technology to actually make parts.
That way, yeah.
So,
Wow.
and it's amazing what it can do. You can print vases, anything you want with this thing.
It really is amazing. So do you offer that service too at your shop?
Yeah,
Okay.
we service and sell the printers, which
Okay.
are still quite inexpensive. I mean, you can get a 3D printer for under $200 now.
Okay.
wow.
But
I
it's
didn't
more
realize
of a hobby type thing. You have
Right.
to do some tinkering with it to make it work properly all the time. We just ordered one that's almost $1,500, but that's more like a commercial grade.
Of
You can
course.
actually just push the button and something comes out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all different levels on these different things. But we
Gotcha.
service them and we sell them. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
Good.
neat. I like that idea, the 3D. It's just much more pronounced, obviously.
Of
so,
course.
Right.
Yeah. So, do you want
Well, with us being the bucket list show, we always make a practice
Okay.
of asking our guests, what is on your bucket list, either personally or professionally or both?
Bucket list. Wow. Well, let's see. Continuing running my business as successful as I can.
Good.
Helping my community.
Oh,
So I
good.
grew up there.
Nice.
And then having a successful long marriage. That's
Oh,
it.
that's
Perfect.
awesome. That is awesome.
What about like a bucket list fun idea?
Fun.
Like, do you want to learn how to scuba dive?
No.
Okay.
I don't like swimming.
Well, what's on your list? Is there a travel? Is there
Bucket
a
list. I would probably
location?
go. Let's say go to Vietnam.
Okay.
Oh, very nice.
Nice.
Okay.
My better half is from there, so
Okay.
Oh,
I'd love to
that's-
visit that place.
Okay, good. See, so that's on your bucket list. I think what happens is, part of the reason we started the show is because, we all have a to-do list, but we forget about our bucket list.
Yeah.
And we get so busy of the day-to-day and all the different roles that we play that we forget to breathe. And then, after COVID and, we just gotta, make sure that we're all living our best life. And, the idea of serving the community was, something for us is important too. And
Absolutely.
that's why, we wanted to make sure that, we're serving the people that watch the show
Right.
with the different information. But we want to make sure who's on the show, at least to remind you
Yeah.
that you got to
Even-
plan your trip to Vietnam now.
Even
Exactly.
you gotta, take a break for yourself. And I think
Yeah.
sometimes as business owners we forget.
Mhm.
You gotta take some time to decompress. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go away
Right.
somewhere. But it's about taking time to spend with your family or
Right.
friends.
Right.
Decompress, get yourself away from the work
Yeah.
that
Turning
you're
your
working
phone
on.
off.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and that's really
Yeah.
challenging to
That's
do.
hard.
It is challenging
It
to
is.
do.
But Tammy and I joke that, we want to paddleboard
Yes.
somewhere's here.
Oh, good.
And there's so much stuff here to do too.
It
So
is.
the bucket list could be, something simple as
Right.
going to Sebastian and the inlet.
And we live in paradise here.
I know we
We
do,
do,
and
we
just,
do.
walking the beach or bike riding, but paddleboarding,
Yes,
we're going to have to
we
do
still
that.
gotta get that on the
I want a
list.
paddleboard, but like in a pool, so I don't have any snakes or alligator. So, I don't know.
Well, that takes away all the fun.
I know,
Rebecca,
I know.
See?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, well,
you'll
listen.
plan it.
Yes, I'll plan it.
I'll do it.
So what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up the show, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows how they can reach you. One, we know first. I don't want to make sure. I want to make sure we wrap up the show without not sharing
Okay.
the fact that you have a new show called Tech Talk that you just started recently. Is that correct?
Yeah, we just did the first recording
Oh,
today.
fantastic. So, keep your eyes open for that. But if they wanted to reach out and talk to you or speak to you, how do they do that?
Several different ways. Phone number is
Okay.
772-567-7888. On the web, just to go for ACT Computers in Google, it will come right up.
Oh, fantastic.
And then also Facebook and wherever you can take
You've
it.
got that SEO
Yeah,
up there.
oh,
See?
I know, right? So the Tech Talk show, will it be on your website? Is that where
They'll
they'll
be
able
on the
to find-
website,
okay.
YouTube channel.
YouTube, okay,
everything
good.
you can think of.
Fantastic.
Okay, perfect.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
And then, of course, if you have questions for Rebecca and I, we're always looking for ideas, different content on the show. This is really, as we have said earlier, all about you and helping you, live your most abundant life. Let's get you to fill that bucket. So stay tuned. Come see us again. We're glad to see you. And
Be kind.
yes, please.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.